Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Bazen Graphics. We shall be designing or doing a donut. I've seen a YouTube tutorial and I was like, why not show my skills? I've learned it and I'm showing you. So let's begin. Right now, this is Blender. This is the viewport. Most of you know it. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to import our image we shall be using as a reference. Just pull up this panel at the bottom. On the left, select what we call an image editor. Right now, this is a timeline editor that you are seeing. We are going to change to an image editor. So on the image editor in the center, there is the folder icon and it's written on open. Click it and go to the path where you downloaded your image, which you shall be using as a reference. Mine is a donut, and this is what we are going to be using. So this is my image I'm using. You can use a different one. So moving it around, you use the same components, the same way you move objects here in the viewport is the same way you move objects in the image editor. So this is what we're going to be using. You can see it looks juicy. So let's hide it and begin. So right now, this is what we call a cube. We are not going to be using a cube. Why? Because our object is circular. Our donut is circular. So we have to start from somewhere. This one, we can use it maybe when we are creating something like a house, but right now we are not creating a house, we're creating a donut. So let's delete it, X on the keyboard, click delete, and it is deleted. So we are going to use an object called the torus. We just have to come to the layout here on the menu, layout, go to add, mesh, then select torus, or we can use hotkeys such as Shift A, you go to mesh and select the torus. As you can see, this one somehow looks like a donut. We can start from here. So now, you can see that our donut, if we look at our donut down here at the bottom, the circle in the middle is somehow small, so we have to reduce the circle of our object here. So every time you create an object the first time, they will give you these properties on the left bottom. They will give you these properties here. You can change these properties of the object. So we are going to change the center one, which is the radius. So just have to come to the major radius and change it to let's say 0.39, and you can see that our donut is coming out. So this shape, you can see this shape is our donut. So when you click on the side, the properties will go. So it's harder to get them. I remember somewhere here, but most of the time for me, I just click delete and I create it again, and it comes with the same properties. So now, next thing we are going to do, we want this donut object of ours to become smooth. We can either do it two ways. One, we can increase the number of segments. First, the number of segments, these lines you can see that are passing vertical and horizontal. We can increase it, for example, to 200. And also the minor segments, we can put it to like 100. Yep, you can see that our donut has become smooth. But the issue with this method is when it's rendering the final image, it uses a lot of energy, and we do not want that, because this is just a donut, single item. What if there were many? It would become so tough. So what do? We use what we call smoothening, or we use another way of smoothening an object. So let's undo and let's create again our mesh, or you can just come to the properties. Remember, it was 32. This one was 12. So what we're going to do is we are going to do what we call smoothening. It's like a cloth. It's like you coming to like your body, let's say your body, and you're putting on a cloth, and it's not showing the inside parts. It's only showing the cloth. So the cloth can give you smoothness, can give you roughness, can give you a coat, and so forth. So what we're going to do is we are in the object mode. We are going to come to our object, which is selected, right click, and select what we call shade smooth. So when we select shade smooth, we can see that made it smooth. That made our donut smooth. Yeah, it looks so nice. We have made it smooth. So, but still, when we zoom in and we go at the edges, you can see that we still have some sharp angles And our donut, if we look at our donut, it's somehow circular at the edges. So how do we make it more smooth at the edges? Now, there we use what we call modifiers. So when we go at the right here, we see that there are icons. So we shall select this icon. When you hover on it, they're showing you modifiers. Select it, and we're going to add a modifier called subdivision surface. So it divides more. So when we click on it, you can see that our donut has become smooth at the edges. Let me undo. It's sharp. If we add the modifier, you can see at the edges it becomes more smooth. Yep. So that's what we want. Yep. Here we are not using the divisions of the ones we started with. We are not putting a lot of rendering equipment on the object. So right now here we are just creating a cloth. Look at it as a cloth or something fake on the surface. Yep. As you can see, it's smooth. Yep. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to change the shape of our donut, because when you look at it here, our donut here, which we have downloaded, the inner circle is not that, the inner part is not that perfectly circular. It has some edges around it. It is somehow straight. So here it's somehow big, and some parts are small. So we are going to bring out that, because our donut right now looks so perfect. It's circular everywhere, and I don't think you can create a perfect donut like this. So we always bring out that human imperfection to make things look more clearer. So how do we do that? Now, what we are in right now is what we call an object mode. An object mode is where you will see how our objects look like. Now, if we want to edit specific components on our objects, we got what we call an edit mode. This one is an object mode. So to go to the edit mode, you go to the left top. Right now you can see that an object mode is selected. Right click, and they'll bring for you a drop down, and you can select what we call an edit mode. So when we select an edit mode, it takes us to this edit mode. So this one enables us to edit sections of our components. So before we go into it, I want to teach you something. You see these circles here. For example, if I click on the side, you see these dots here, these lines here. These ones help us to create shapes. What do I mean? Now, these dots here are called vertices. One is called a vertex. And to select it, we just come to the right top here on these icons here, right on the left top here on these icons, and you hover on one, you can see it's select mode vertex. Or you just have to click number 1 on the keyboard, and you can be able to select these vertices or vertex. One is called the vertex, and when there are many, they are called vertices. So those are what we call vertices, those dots. Then these lines here are called edges. To select them, you just come to the left top here, the middle icon here, select mode edge, or you click number 2 on the keyboard. And now we are able to select these edges. Then the third one is what we call faces. This part in the middle here. You just have to come to the left top here and select this icon here, and you can be able to, or number 3 on the keyboard, and you can be able to select these faces. So the vertices plus the edges make up the faces. So every object here is made up of faces, vertices, and edges. Yep. So that's what we are going to be editing to make our shape come out. You understand? Come out. So how do we do that? So make sure that you have selected the option of vertices. Make sure you can be able to select these vertices. Then after selecting the vertices, we are going to use what we call proportional editing. Make sure you have selected the vertices option. So we have to go to proportional editing. How do we go to proportional editing? On your menu, there's this icon here like for shooting. Make sure you click it and make sure it is highlighted, and on the right of it select, make sure you have selected smooth. So make sure it's highlighted and you have selected the smooth option. So how do we do it? So it will help us to edit. How does it help us to edit? Now, make sure, like I've said, your vertices are enabled. When we have selected, for example, one point of the vertex, we are going to click letter G. Remember, letter G is for movement. So we're going to click letter G on our keyboard. When you click letter G, they will bring for you what we call a circle. Sometimes it is big, so you have to scroll to make it more smaller. You have to scroll on the middle mouse. The middle mouse for scrolling. Yep, the middle mouse for scrolling. That middle button on the mouse. Yep, when you scroll it, they bring for you this circle. So when you bring for you this circle shows you the area or the surface. So the surface it covers is the surface that is going to be affected. What do I mean? If it's smaller, if I scroll and it becomes smaller and I try to move my mouse, you can see that's the only part that is being affected. But if I scroll it and it becomes bigger, you can see a bigger part is being affected. If I make it more bigger, you can see the bigger part is being affected. So use it the way you want. So if I don't like it this way, I just have to right click and they take me back to the initial position. So if I click again, letter G, make sure a vertex of a vertex is selected, and click letter G, make sure proportional editing is selected, click letter G, and bring for you this circle, scroll the middle mouse button to make sure you know the surface you're going to affect, and move it around, play around with it, and if you like it this way, and you like the way it's looking like, left click and they will bring for you that position. So we can go and select another part here, select it, press letter G on the keyboard, and to help you move and affect the surfaces. So play around with it to make it look like a real donut. Yep, we don't want to. Let's select this one, G, and we can push it inside. Yep. You play around with it to bring for you a shape that you want. Letter G. The surface we want to affect. Then also inside here, remember our image here down here, the one we have here. Inside here, the circle is not that perfect, so we can also change it. We can also change it the way we want. So just have to select, for example, this one here, letter G, and we move the affected area we want to affect. Yeah, we come like here, and letter G, we can like that. I will come like here, letter G, and you play around the way you want. So until you come out with that imperfect shape. So if we go back to our object model, so play around with it, and you will come up with something looking like a donut. So if we go back to the object mode, we can see that something has come out of our donut. You can see that it's coming out in a real nice donut shape. So if we pull out our donut, we can see it's also not that perfect. So we are bringing out that imperfection. We have to bring out the reality of the image. So the last thing we are going to do, when we look at our donut here, around the edges, it's kind of flat. You can see it's kind of flat, and you can see that it's kind of pushed inside. So what we are going to do, we are going to go back to our edit mode, and we are going to select around this donut of ours. So we're going to make sure we select these edges which are around our donut. So make sure that the edge option is selected. You can come and select this edge, you select this edge, you select this edge, you select this edge, until you select the whole edges around the donut. But the best way to do it, just have to come and select one edge, come to the menu, yes, and come to layout, select, go to select loops, and select edge loops. You can see that they have selected our donut all around. That's the edge, the loop we wanted, the edge loop we wanted. So that's what we wanted. So what we are going to do, we are going to scale it inside, or we are going to push it inside along the Y and the X axis, not along the Z axis. So how do we eliminate the Z axis? By scaling it. How do we eliminate the Z axis? We are first, remember, we're going to scale it along the X and Y axis. X and Y axis, but not using the Z axis. So it means we are going to remove the Z axis. How do we do that? First of all, scaling is letter S on the keyboard. Click letter S on the keyboard. Bring for you scale. First make sure you have disabled proportional editing. Yep, that one we don't want it. So make sure you click S on the keyboard, and also click Shift Z. Shift Z eliminates Z axis and leaves the XY axis. Shift Z, and we're going to scale it a little bit inside, not too much, not like this, but a little bit there, a little bit around there. So we are making it a little bit straight. So that's how we want it. If we go back to the object mode, we can see that our donut has come out, and it looks like a real donut waiting for editing, coloring, and so forth. So as you can see, it's coming out. It's coming out as our donut and what we need. So this is the perfect thing that you're supposed to do. This is the perfect thing that you're supposed to do. So the next thing is we're going to be putting some icing on our donut so that it can look delicious. And then we shall also add coloring and so forth. So I wanted to show you this first part. Please keep watching for the next part. This is where we are stopping. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. We remain Bazen Graphics.